how you say, tip, yeah, and you insert it in your handpiece, and then you see, and you can tell if there's color on it. That means color runs back. When color runs back, wood liquids can also run back. A very important safety issue. Okay, so there's a new concept. We call it a SENSIDRIVE. And here we measure the resistance of the skin, like how thick, how dense is the skin. And the handpiece recognizes that, the machine recognizes that, and then, according to the presetting and the application that we need, we adjust the power. So we can not only adjust the frequency, we can also adjust the power. Yeah, well, the device also is certified. We have several patents. We are actually more like our company, we're a research-based company, and we have several fields where we apply the outcomes of our research. Okay, this is the device which we use. One interesting difference also is from the pen. So if you look at this type of pen, for example, which we also use, but here you see the disadvantages. You have to attach like the barrier film to the pen, and then you have to have another coating, and then you have the cartridge. So that means there's a lot of steps. Or you can also use the barrier film and attach the barrier film to the front. But then you have to grab the pen through the barrier film, which gives a little bit, a lot of a tight feeling. So therefore here, the advantage is we have one cartridge, which is this size, and then you attach the barrier film here to the back end. And the area where you would grip the pen is right here. So that means you have a tight grip on your handpiece and it's not slippery because of the barrier film. Okay, let's get to the SENSIDRIVE function. So what we see here, this is the screen of the device, and you can set the speed or frequency here, and here, this is the SENSIDRIVE function. So the SENSIDRIVE function you can set it by yourself, the power, but you can also go with recommendation. This is how it looks like. So, for example, it shows you there's a 3-point needle attached. Machine recognizes which needle is attached. And then it gives you an overview over what you could do with a 3-point needle. So here, for example, the user chose to find hair scores. Yeah? And then there will be a presetting. And the presetting will determine also the power. So it's depending on whatever you want to do, and it's depending on which cartridge is attached. And out of these parameters, plus the resistance of the skin, the optimal power setting is generated. I will show it to you here. So this is, for example, the soft setting. What happens with the soft setting? In the soft setting, when the density of the skin is increased and the resistance of the skin is increased, the needle speed will actually slow down, the power will slow down, the frequency drops. That means that the pigment is rather placed, somewhere in the epidermis and maybe not deep enough. Why would you want to use this feature? For example, for shading, because you get more feeling for the skin. Yeah, so you have a little bit more of a feeling over the resistance, because it's a very soft reaction to your pressure. Yeah. So then we have the neutral setting. In a neutral setting, SENSIDRIVE is set to 0. What happens is you have a very stable frequency. This equals the digital control of the frequency. The frequency remains the same, no matter what happens. It always remains the same. No matter uphill or downhill with the car, always remains the same. The disadvantage here is that in this area, for example, where the skin is more dense, where it's more thick, the pigments will be placed in the epidermis, and it may not be deep enough. So therefore there's a power setting. And the power setting is doing this. Now it's getting to harder skin areas, and the frequency and the power is increased. So that means that all the pigments are inserted into the right depths. The power goes up because the skin is higher, skin resistance is higher. So this is great for fine hair strokes, for example, for lining of the lips. Yeah? Every time you need an even and deep placement of the pigment. Okay, here's a comparison. Please watch the three, and you see the difference in the frequency, and also you see the difference in the placement of the pigment. Here is the soft setting. You have a rather uneven placement, but you have more feeling for the pen. Here, this is like the digital control in the middle, the SENSIDRIVE3, yeah, digital control. And here's the power setting. This is great for lines. So also here we have some high-speed camera. This is a silicone. This is a silicone pad. And now the pens are moved towards the silicone pad. So you will see that the needles are stitching into the silicone pad. This here on the left side is basically the reference. So this is like a neutral setting. This is the digital control, SENSIDRIVE3. Yeah? And you notice with the power setting, compare the frequency. You have a much higher frequency here compared to here. See the soft setting. Once the needle goes into the skin, you see the frequency slows down. Yeah? I will repeat it because I think it's more easier to see after I have actually described it. Okay, so all the frequencies are the same now. Okay, all four pictures show the same frequency. And now you see here the needle is entering the skin, and you see the frequency is going faster. Frequency is going up, power is going up. Now the soft setting is entering the skin, and you will see the needle frequency will slow down. So this will give you more flexibility to work with your device, to work with shading effects, to work with lining effects, not with the same settings, but with different settings, in addition to the needle choices. And to make it also easier to choose, we have that system of recommendation of what to use. But you're also flexible to use other systems, to use other settings. You're free to choose your own settings once you get experience with the product. Well, this is something we just started now, where we have got experience in our lab. We have done a lot of testing. We have had very good results, and we're very happy to also come and see us at the product presentation and to have a feel for the product, because I think it's very impressive to actually hold the pen, to feel the soft setting, feel how the power is reduced, or feel how the power is increased for the line. Yeah. And now I know it's a complex, very complex.